The Galactic Council had always considered Earth a minor, almost laughable world. For centuries, Council members observed humanity from a distance. They called humans noisy primitives and assumed their petty wars and politics were of no consequence to the wider galaxy. Across the stars, species far older and wiser than humans had mastered technologies that made travel between galaxies simple. The Council believed Earth would remain a quiet, unnoticed planet forever. Yet there were whispers, small, subtle, almost dismissible reports from scouts who had observed Earth's development. A few careful observers had begun to notice that humans were different. Their technology, though primitive in the eyes of advanced civilizations, was unpredictable. It changed quickly, adapting in ways that no one had anticipated. One scout reported seeing humans use energy in unusual ways, bending it with machines powered by strange, untested principles. The Council's chambers floated in the space between stars, a vast structure of light and crystal, orbiting a planet older than most species remembered. The representatives gathered as usual, their forms shimmering with holographic energy. Each had waited to see the report on Earth, though most thought it would be insignificant. "A primitive world," said Ilra, the representative of the Glorian species. Her voice carried calm disdain. "Why waste time on them? They have no fleets, no starships capable of leaving their system. They are children playing with firecrackers." A ripple of agreement spread through the chamber. Few took the scouts' warning seriously. After all, Earth had been a backwater for thousands of their years. Its inhabitants had fought each other with sticks, then swords, then machines, but always on a local scale. Interstellar travel was unimaginable to them, or so the Council thought. But one counselor, older and wiser than most, frowned at the reports. He was Tael, representing the Vorthari, a species known for long lives and careful observation. "Do not underestimate them," he said quietly but firmly. "They are small, yes, but their rate of adaptation is unusual. Look at their history. They have survived catastrophes, disease, and constant conflict. Their creativity grows under pressure. Do we not remember the mistakes of other young worlds we ignored?" Ilra waved dismissively. "You are being paranoid, Tal. Survival does not equal power in the galaxy." Tal shook his head. "Perhaps, but the reports indicate their technology is developing faster than even our scouts predicted. The humans are not predictable. That makes them dangerous," the chamber murmured. Some counselors ignored him. Others shifted uneasily. Deep inside, even those who mocked humans could not fully dismiss the data. Suddenly, the reports were interrupted by an alarm. The main viewport of the chamber shimmered, revealing a small glowing fleet at the outer edge of Council space. It was impossible. Council sensors confirmed it. A fleet of human ships had appeared without warning, crossing thousands of light years in a way no one had predicted. Gasps and whispers filled the chamber. The Council had always assumed that humans were still limited to their small solar system. No interstellar fleet should exist. Yet here it was, waiting, quiet but visible, like a shadow stretching across the void. Ilra's voice rose in disbelief. "This cannot be. They do not have the technology for faster-than-light travel. How?" Tyle held up a hand to calm the room. "I warned you. They are not like us. They are small, yes, but their ingenuity is remarkable. And their courage, even more so. The humans' fleet was unlike any other in Council space. Its ships were smaller than Council vessels, but they glimmered with a strange energy. Their movements were precise, coordinated, yet unpredictable. The ships seemed to flow through space, shifting positions faster than Council sensors could track. It was as though the fleet had a mind of its own. A holographic image of Earth appeared, above the chamber's central platform. Blue oceans, green continents, and white clouds rotated slowly, peaceful from this distant view. No one in the chamber could believe that such a serene world could command such a fleet. Then a voice came from the human delegation. It was clear, calm, yet carried authority. "Council of the Galaxy, we request recognition. We are the people of Earth. We demand a seat at your assembly. We will not be ignored." The chamber fell silent. The words were simple, but they carried weight. A human, speaking across thousands of light years, had dared to demand respect. Many counselors laughed at first, thinking it a joke. "Ridiculous," Ilra said. "They have no experience, they are children. This is preposterous." But another voice, this time from a species known for their centuries of wisdom, whispered, "Do you hear the calm in their voice? There is no fear. That is unusual." Indeed, the humans did not tremble. Their calm presence, backed by the fleet visible outside, suggested something far deeper than mere technological progress. They had purpose, they had courage, and most importantly, they had unity. Tail nodded slowly. "This is no mistake. They have arrived with intent. We must observe carefully before we act." A counselor from a military-dominated species, the Kreth, slammed a clawed hand on the table. "Observe? We should destroy them. They have no right to appear in our space." "Violence is not always the answer," Tail replied. "We do not understand them yet. Acting hastily could be disastrous." Meanwhile, on Earth, the human fleet moved silently through space, following a calculated course to the Council's assembly. On board the lead ship, Captain Mira Valen stood at the observation deck staring at the stars ahead. "We've made it this far," she said to her crew. "All our preparations, all the training, everything depends on how we act. Next, we cannot fail." Her first officer, a young woman named Jara, nodded. "Sir, sensors confirm Council vessels are detecting us. They are scanning our fleet. We should prepare for a possible attack." Mira shook her head. "No. Our mission is not to attack. Our mission is to make them understand that Earth is no longer a world to be ignored. If we strike first, we prove their fears. But if we arrive in calm and demand recognition, we show our strength in another way." Jara smiled. "I hope the galaxy sees what you see, Captain. I hope they understand us before it's too late." Back in the council chamber, debate raged. Many counselors argued for immediate action, insisting that humans were a threat. Others, uncertain but uneasy, advocated caution. The arrival of a fleet that should not exist was shaking the council to its core. Then a holographic display appeared. The humans activated a non-lethal energy field, illuminating their ships in patterns that pulsed like a heartbeat. The field projected no weapons, no aggression, only power and precision. Every counselor could see it. The humans were strong, but they were choosing restraint. Ilra's expression darkened. "They dare to show us strength and without even attacking. This is arrogance." Tail's eyes gleamed with quiet approval. "No, this is courage and intelligence. They are teaching us something important. Strength is not only measured by destruction, it is measured by will, by unity, by purpose. This is why they are dangerous." The council began to realize that Earth had changed. Humanity was no longer a quiet, primitive species to be dismissed. They had mastered technology in ways that defied expectation. They had arrived with purpose, showing that they would not be ignored. And in that moment across the chamber, a whisper spread among the counselors. "Perhaps we have underestimated them. Terribly." The human fleet hovered at the edge of council space, calm, precise, and unstoppable, not with firepower but with sheer confidence and unity. They had arrived uninvited yet unthreatening. Yet the message was clear. Earth had awakened. The Galactic Council had laughed at humanity for centuries. Now they were beginning to understand that this small blue world, often dismissed as primitive, could change the balance of power in the galaxy forever. And as the Council debated their next move, one truth became undeniable. Humans would not be ignored. The Galactic Council chambers buzzed with tension. Humans had arrived unannounced, their fleet shimmering at the edge of Council space like a silent wave ready to crash. For the first time, the Council could not simply dismiss Earth. Every species present felt the weight of this small but astonishingly confident force. Counselors argued loudly, their voices overlapping, creating a storm of doubt and anger. Some demanded immediate destruction of the human fleet, claiming it a reckless act of defiance. Others hesitated, aware that attacking a fleet with unknown technology could have unpredictable consequences. Ilra, the Glorian representative, slammed a tentacle on the crystalline table. "We cannot allow this, they are fools. Do they not understand the power of the Council? Their arrogance will be their end." Tael, the Vorthari elder, remained calm. "Arrogance, perhaps, or courage. But we cannot underestimate them. They are different. I have studied their history. Every time humans face impossible odds, they adapt. They survive. They find ways others do not even imagine." A holographic display flickered to life above the council floor. The humans' fleet pulsed in patterns of light, subtle yet unmistakable. No weapons had been fired. No hostile action had been taken. Yet the council could feel the energy emanating from the ships, a quiet, powerful force. A Kreth military counselor roared in frustration. "We cannot debate while they sit there like ghosts at our doorstep. Strike now. Show them the consequences of their foolishness." Tael shook his head. "Strike now, and we reveal fear. They are testing us. Observe carefully, and you will see what I mean." Meanwhile, in the lead ship of the human fleet, Captain Mira Valen studied the Council's reactions from her observation deck. The crew around her moved with quiet efficiency, monitoring Council sensors and communications. "They are nervous," said Jara, her first officer, pointing to the readouts. "They can sense our energy field. They know it is unlike anything they have seen." Mira nodded. "Good. Let them feel it. But we do not attack. Our strength is not measured by destruction today. It is measured by presence. They must understand that Earth will not be ignored." Below the council chamber, a young delegate, a species known for their intelligence but limited courage, whispered to a neighbor, "Do you feel it?" They're calm. It is unsettling. They do not fear us, yet they are stronger than they appear. I have never felt anything like this. Above the chamber, the humans activated another display, this one projecting a holographic image of Earth, slowly rotating in perfect detail. Oceans shimmered, clouds drifted, and continents glowed softly. The human envoy spoke again, their voice calm but firm. "We are Earth," said the voice, clear and deliberate. "We have come to make ourselves known. We demand recognition and equality in the Council. We will not bow and we will not retreat." The words were simple, but their meaning struck like a hammer. Councilors paused, the weight of the statement sinking in. Here was a species considered primitive, speaking boldly to the most powerful assembly in the galaxy, and they spoke without fear. Murmurs spread through the chamber. Some laughed nervously, unable to believe what they were hearing. Others looked at each other in concern, realizing that this was no ordinary bluff. Tael's eyes narrowed. "They are testing us," he said quietly. "They want to see if we will respond with aggression, or if we will respect their presence. Observe their calm. That is a measure of their strength. Their unity is remarkable." Ylra's tentacles twitched in irritation. "Strength? This is not strength. They have no fleets capable of sustained combat. They have no experience. This is only illusion and luck." Suddenly, the human fleet shimmered and Council sensors detected an unexpected phenomenon. The ships began to manipulate energy in the surrounding space, creating a field that disrupted traditional detection patterns. Council warships, advanced for thousands of years, could barely track the fleet's movements. A Kreth military strategist hissed in disbelief. "Impossible. They are small ships, but their coordination, it defies our models." Tael nodded slowly. "See? Their strength is in their unpredictability. Every maneuver is precise yet unexpected. Their unity and strategy are born from something deeper than technology. They are disciplined, intelligent, and adaptable. That is why they are dangerous." Jara turned to Captain Mira. "Sensors indicate they are discussing us frantically. Some are considering attacking. We could strike now and easily disable their ships." Mira shook her head. "No, that is not our goal. If we strike, they will respond with fear, and that will only delay their understanding. We want them to see that Earth is rising not by violence alone, but by courage and will. Let them feel our presence, not our weapons. Back in the council chamber, the debate grew more heated. Voices clashed, tentacles waved, and holographic displays blinked with data streams. Some counselors were terrified, others were angry. Few understood the true nature of the humans before them. The human envoy spoke again, projecting a message directly into the chamber. We are not here to conquer, but to claim our place. We seek equality and respect. We are prepared to defend ourselves, but we offer no hostility unless provoked. This is your chance to see us as we are. The holographic projection shifted, showing the human fleet in coordinated formation, glowing softly in the dark expanse of space. Counselors could see the organization, the discipline, and the precision. Every movement was calculated yet fluid. Like a living organism, Ylra's voice trembled with anger. They dare to show us strength, without even firing a weapon. This is insolence. Tail's calm voice cut through the chamber. No, this is intelligence. This is courage. And it is why they are dangerous. They do not rely solely on technology or force. They rely on unity, adaptability, and determination. They are teaching us something we have long forgotten. True strength comes from purpose and will. The murmurs grew louder. Some counselors began to doubt themselves. Others began to whisper, perhaps we have underestimated them. Perhaps terribly underestimated them. The humans did not speak of conquest. They spoke of equality. They did not threaten destruction. Yet every species in the chamber could feel the power behind their calm. It was a power that came not from fleets or weapons alone, but from belief in themselves and each other. Jara glanced at Mira. They are beginning to understand. I can feel it in their readings. Fear, respect, uncertainty. They do not know how to respond. We have unsettled them without firing a shot. Mira smiled slightly. That is exactly what we needed. Let them see Earth not as a primitive world, but as a rising force. That is the true measure of our strength. Outside the council chambers, the human fleet remained calm, hovering at the edge of space. The stars reflected in the polished hulls of their ships, and the energy fields pulsed gently, like the steady beat of a heart. They waited, patient and resolute, for the council to respond. And within the council, the realization grew. Humanity was no longer a species to be ignored or dismissed. They had arrived boldly, unafraid, and unrelenting in their purpose. Their presence alone challenged the centuries-old order, forcing every species to reconsider what they thought they knew about power, courage, and the will to survive. For the first time in millennia, the Galactic Council faced a question that no one could answer with certainty. What is Earth truly capable of? The answer would not come from weapons or threats. It would come from observation, strategy, and understanding. And as the Council continued their debates, one undeniable truth emerged. Humans had arrived, calm and unyielding, and they had already changed the course of history. The galaxy was beginning to see that Earth was no longer a quiet, primitive world. It was a force to be reckoned with. And for the first time, the Council felt something they had not felt in countless millennia: fear. The Galactic Council could no longer ignore Earth. The humans' calm and confident presence had shaken centuries of arrogance. For the first time, debate alone seemed inadequate. The Council knew that if they acted carelessly, humanity could surprise them in ways no one had predicted. In the council chambers, arguments raged louder than ever. Ylra, the Glorian representative, paced with agitation. They are small. Their ships are no match for our fleets. Strike now, and we will show them the futility of their arrogance. Tael, the Vorthari elder, remained seated, observing the humans' energy patterns. Do you not see? Violence is not the answer here. They are testing us, measuring our reactions. If we attack without understanding, we reveal weakness. They are dangerous, yes, but not because of their fleets. They are dangerous because of their minds and their unity. A holographic display flickered to life, showing the humans' fleet in motion. The ships moved like a single organism, adjusting positions with perfect precision. Energy fields shimmered around each ship, protecting them while allowing incredible agility. The Council warships could barely predict their movements, and the humans' tactics were unfamiliar to every species present. "This is absurd," shouted a Kreth general. "We have fought thousands of wars, and no species has moved with such coordination without centuries of practice. How can they do this in such a short time?" Tael's eyes gleamed. "That is precisely why they are dangerous. Their strength is not in size nor in experience, but in adaptability. Humans learn quickly, they innovate, and under pressure, they thrive." Meanwhile, aboard the lead human ship, Captain Mira Valen reviewed the latest readings from Council sensors. Her fleet was calm, organized, and ready, but she knew the true challenge lay not in battle. It lay in convincing the Council that Earth had risen to claim its place in the galaxy. "Report," she said to Jara, who was monitoring Council reactions. "They are panicking quietly," Jara replied. "Some want to attack, others hesitate. Sensors show several species trying to communicate with each other urgently. They do not understand us." Mira nodded. "Good. Let them feel uncertainty. Let them see that Earth acts with purpose, not fear. That is the lesson we must deliver." A human envoy's voice projected clearly into the Council chamber. "We come not to conquer, but to claim our place. We will defend ourselves if provoked. We do not bow, and we will not retreat. The galaxy must recognize Earth as a force with intelligence, courage, and will." Councilors were shocked. For centuries, no primitive world had dared to speak to the Council with such clarity and authority. Their calm, deliberate voice carried weight that belied their small numbers. Some councilors whispered among themselves, fear slowly creeping into their hearts. The humans' message was simple but undeniable. They were united, prepared, and ready to face any challenge. No threats had been made, yet every species in the chamber felt the force of Earth's determination. "Do they not fear us?" Ylra hissed, pacing angrily. "They should tremble before the Council's might." Tael's voice was calm but firm. "Fear is not always a measure of power. Confidence, unity, and purpose are far more dangerous. These humans know what they want, and they will fight to achieve it. That is why they are formidable." Outside the chamber, the humans demonstrated the next stage of their plan. Their fleet projected a subtle energy pulse, visible only through Council sensors. The pulse disrupted traditional tracking systems, showing that humans could manipulate energy in ways the Council had never seen. The Kreth general slammed his claws on the table. "Impossible! They are manipulating energy without weapons. How can this be?" Tael smiled faintly. "It is not weaponry that makes them powerful. It is creativity. They see possibilities others cannot. That is the true measure of strength." A young counselor from a minor species long ignored in galactic affairs whispered to a neighbor, "I have never felt this before. Their calm, their confidence. It unsettles me. They are small, yet every move they make feels like a test. I do not understand it, and that scares me." Meanwhile, on Earth, scientists and engineers worked tirelessly to support the fleet. The planet had mobilized its best minds, coordinating communications, energy research, and strategy. Every calculation, every energy projection, and every ship movement had been planned meticulously. Yet the humans knew that their greatest advantage was not technology, it was unity. Every crew, every team, every citizen understood their role, and every role mattered. Captain Mira walked through the control deck of the lead ship. "We are ready," she said. "Our strategy is clear. We show strength without aggression. We demand respect without fear. Let them see that Earth is not a world to be dismissed." Jara nodded. Sensors confirm they are beginning to realize this. Some counselors are calling for immediate analysis. Others are uncertain. That hesitation works in our favor. Inside the council chamber, whispers grew louder. The older species began to exchange hurried glances. They had faced many civilizations, yet humans seemed different. Young, yes, and untested in interstellar war, but their confidence, their unity, and their clarity of purpose made them unpredictable. and unpredictability was dangerous. The human envoy spoke again. We do not seek war, we seek recognition. We do not demand submission, we demand equality. We are ready to defend ourselves, but our strength is not measured by our ability to destroy. It is measured by our will, our courage, and our unity. The council could not ignore it. The words were simple, yet they carried the force of truth. Humans were no longer children playing in a quiet corner of the galaxy. They had arrived, as a force to be reckoned with. Ilra's anger boiled. They speak of unity and courage. They have no fleets capable of real combat. They dare to lecture the council. Tyle's calm gaze did not waver. Do not mistake courage for arrogance, Ilra. Observe them carefully. Their unity, their clarity, and their will are what make them dangerous. The galaxy has underestimated them for too long. That is why they are already changing the rules of this chamber. Suddenly, the humans projected a new display. A holographic model of the Council's fleet appeared, showing predicted movements and weaknesses. The projection was subtle, not threatening, but clear enough to demonstrate knowledge of Council operations. Every counselor saw it. Humans had studied them, analyzed them, and prepared for every response. A murmur spread. They know. Our fleet positions, our strategies. How is this possible? Tale spoke quietly but clearly. They are not relying solely on brute force. They are relying on intelligence, analysis, and strategy. That is why they are formidable. That is why even now, without firing a shot, they have already changed the Council's perspective. Jara looked at Captain Mira. They are beginning to understand. The Council is realizing we are not what they expected. Mira nodded. Good. We act with calm, with clarity, and with unity. That is the true strength of Earth. Let them see it fully. Let them feel it. Outside, the human fleet pulsed softly in the dark expanse of space. The energy fields around each ship shimmered like a heartbeat, steady and unyielding. Every ship moved in perfect coordination, responding instantly to the slightest change. Council sensors struggled to track the fleet accurately. Every move the humans made demonstrated adaptability, intelligence, and discipline. Inside the Council chamber, whispers became open concern. Fear mingled with awe. The older, more powerful species realized that they had misjudged humanity. They had assumed Earth would remain a minor world, easy to ignore. Yet humans had arrived not as beggars, not as aggressors, but as equals in will and determination. Tale stood addressing the chamber. The humans are not to be feared for their size. They are to be respected for their courage, intelligence, and unity. They do not seek destruction today, yet their presence alone changes the balance of power. The question is not if they can defeat us with weapons. They have already defeated us with will. The chamber fell silent. Every species present understood the meaning of Tale's words. Humans had arrived calm and confident, demonstrating that a small world could rise to challenge the galaxy's oldest powers, not through sheer destruction, but through intelligence, strategy, and unity. And across the stars, the humans waited, patient and unwavering, knowing that the next moves of the Council would reveal how much the galaxy truly understood about the strength of Earth. For the first time, the Council felt an unfamiliar sensation. They had faced countless civilizations, yet humans were different. Small, young, and seemingly primitive, yet united, clever and fearless. The realization settled over the chamber like a shadow. Earth had awakened, and the galaxy would never be the same. The Council's chambers were in chaos. For the first time in its long history, the Assembly was unsure how to respond to a single species. Humans had arrived with calm confidence, demanding recognition, yet not striking a blow. And now, the realization spread. Earth had more power than anyone had guessed. Ilra, the Glorian representative, paced furiously. This cannot be. They are young. Their fleets are small. Yet they move with precision, intelligence, and purpose. Every report shows them outmaneuvering our systems without firing a weapon. Tyel, the Vorthari elder, observed quietly. That is why they are dangerous. They do not need violence to assert themselves. They demonstrate strength in ways we have long forgotten. Watch carefully, and you will see what the galaxy is learning today. Fear is not always created by power, but by unity, creativity, and will. Counselors murmured in agreement and disbelief. Some were angry, others were fearful. The older species, once confident in their superiority, began to realize that they had misjudged Earth. For centuries, humans had been dismissed as primitive. Now, humans had arrived and changed the rules without striking a single blow. Across the stars, the human fleet continued its steady advance. Captain Mira Valen stood on the observation deck of the lead ship, her eyes scanning the Council's signals. Every sensor reading, every subtle reaction was analyzed carefully. The humans had planned for this moment for years, and their patience was now paying off. They are panicking, Jara said softly, pointing to the Council's communications feed. Some want to attack. Others hesitate. Their hesitation is our advantage. They cannot decide how to respond. Mira nodded. Good. Let them feel uncertainty. Let them see that Earth acts with purpose, not fear. That is the lesson we must deliver. The human envoy's voice projected into the Council chambers again. We do not come to conquer. We come to claim our place among the stars. We will defend ourselves if provoked, but we offer no hostility unless forced. We are united and we act with purpose. That is our strength. The counselors could not ignore it. The words were simple, yet they carried an authority that none expected. Humans were young, yes, and inexperienced in interstellar war. Yet their clarity, unity, and confidence created a force far beyond technology alone. A holographic display illuminated the chamber. The human fleet was shown coordinating movements with uncanny precision. Energy fields pulsed around their ships, creating patterns that made Council sensors struggle to keep track. The humans' tactics were unfamiliar, unpredictable, and effective. Kreth General slammed his claws on the table in frustration. How is this possible? Their fleets are smaller than ours, yet they move like a single organism. Their energy patterns, they are manipulating space in ways we cannot predict. Tail's eyes gleamed. That is not brute power, you see. That is intelligence, strategy, and adaptability. Humans do not fight like other species. They innovate, under pressure. They learn quickly. And that makes them formidable. Whispers spread through the chamber. Many counselors had begun to doubt themselves. Could this young species, once dismissed, truly challenge the galaxy's oldest powers? The humans demonstrated their next step. Without any warning, they projected a holographic map of Council space, showing fleet positions, supply routes, and strategic points. The Council gasped. The humans had studied them carefully. They knew their weaknesses, their strengths, and how to approach both. Ilra shouted, "This is insolence! They cannot know our fleet so well." Tyle remained calm. Do not underestimate them. They are dangerous not because of brute force, but because they observe, adapt, and plan with intelligence. They have studied us and prepared for our responses. That is why even their presence alone changes the balance of power. Meanwhile, Captain Mira walked among her crew, ensuring every ship and every crew member was ready. "We act with clarity," she said. "Our strength is not in weapons alone, but in our unity and courage. Let the Council see that Earth does not act in fear, but with purpose." Jara looked at her. They are beginning to realize. Some counselors are calling for emergency meetings, others hesitate. That hesitation works in our favor. The humans did not attack, yet their strategy was working. Fear mixed with awe among the older species. They had underestimated humans, assuming that a young, primitive world could not pose any real threat. Yet now the galaxy was learning that power was not measured only by weapons, fleets, or centuries of experience. Humans were proving that intelligence, adaptability, and unity could challenge even the most ancient empires. Counselors debated frantically. Some demanded immediate action, claiming that Earth's confidence was a threat. Others urged caution, arguing that the humans' calm strength indicated a level of strategy the galaxy had not seen in millennia. A minor species, long ignored in council affairs, whispered to a neighbor. I have never felt this before. They are small, yet every action they take feels deliberate. I cannot predict them, and that scares me. How can a young species have such control? Outside the chamber, the human fleet continued its steady, silent advance. Each ship moved with precision, energy fields pulsing in patterns that were both beautiful and powerful. Council sensors struggled to track every movement, and analysts found themselves confused by the fleet's adaptability. The humans were demonstrating an unspoken lesson. Strength was not measured by destruction alone. Strength was measured by will, by unity, and by the courage to stand unbowed before the galaxy's oldest powers. Inside the council chamber, murmurs grew into uneasy voices. Even the most confident species were beginning to admit that they had misjudged humans. They had assumed Earth would remain a quiet, primitive planet. Instead, humans had arrived with clarity, strategy, and the courage to demand recognition. Tail stood and addressed the assembly. Observe the humans. They are not to be feared for size or experience. They are to be respected for their intelligence, their courage, and their unity. They do not seek violence today, yet their presence alone changes the balance of power. The question is not if they can defeat us with weapons, they have already won with will. The chamber fell silent. Every species understood the meaning of Tyle's words. The humans had arrived, calm and confident, demonstrating that even a young world could rise to challenge centuries of power, not through brute force, but through intelligence, strategy, and unity. Captain Miravallen looked at the holographic display of council space. They are beginning to understand, she said. They do not know how to respond. That is our advantage. We act with courage, intelligence, and unity. That is the true power of Earth. Jara nodded. Their hesitation is clear. The council is confused, unsure, and afraid. We have proven that a small species, united and intelligent, can challenge empires. The human fleet hovered in the darkness of space, calm and precise. Energy pulses shimmered from the ships like the steady rhythm of a heartbeat. Each movement demonstrated discipline, adaptability, and intelligence. The council's sensors struggled to keep up. Inside the council chamber, fear and awe mingled. The older species, once confident in their supremacy, now realized they had misjudged Earth. They had assumed humans were too primitive to challenge the galaxy's oldest powers. But the humans had arrived not as aggressors, but as equals in will and determination. Tail's voice echoed across the chamber. Humans are young, yes, but they are united, clever, and fearless. Their calm, deliberate actions have already begun to change the galaxy's perception. They have not attacked, yet their presence alone commands respect. The question is not what we can do to them, but what we must do to understand them. The council had no immediate answer. For the first time, they were faced with a species they could not dismiss or intimidate. Humans had arrived boldly, demanding recognition and equality, yet offering no threats. The galaxy was beginning to learn that strength could take many forms, and that intelligence, courage, and unity were as powerful as any weapon. Across the stars, the humans waited, patient, calm, ready. They had shown the council that a small world, united and determined, could challenge centuries of power. And in doing so, Earth had begun to break the old order, reshaping the galaxy's understanding of strength, courage, and the will to survive. The council had laughed at humanity for centuries. Now, they were beginning to understand that a young, small planet could rise not with violence but with clarity, intelligence, and unwavering purpose. And in that realization, the galaxy trembled. The Galactic Council had never faced a moment like this. For centuries, they had ruled over countless species, confident in their knowledge, their fleets, and their authority. Yet now, a single young species, humans from Earth, had arrived, calm, confident, and united. They had not fired a weapon, yet the entire council was on edge. Inside the chamber, Ilra's anger simmered. They cannot be allowed to remain unchallenged. We must show them our power. Tyel, the Vorthari elder, shook his head. No, Attacking now would only prove their point. Humans are dangerous not because of their fleets, but because of their will, their intelligence, and their courage. They have already changed the balance of power without a single strike, whispers spread among the counselors. Many species, even the most powerful, began to admit what Tel had long suspected. They had underestimated humans. Every observation, every movement, every message from Earth revealed a species unlike any other, a species united, determined, and clever. Across the stars, Captain Mira Valen watched the Council's reactions through sensors. The human fleet hovered quietly, energy fields pulsing softly around each ship. Every movement was precise, disciplined, and intentional. They had come not to destroy, but to claim respect and recognition. They are confused, Jara said, studying the readouts. Some want to attack, others hesitate. Their hesitation is our advantage. They are realizing we are not what they expected. Mira nodded. Let them feel that uncertainty. Let them understand that Earth does not act in fear, but with purpose. That is our strength. The human envoy spoke into the council chamber once more. We come from Earth. We seek equality, not subjugation. We will defend ourselves if provoked, but we will not strike unless necessary. Our strength lies in our unity, our courage, and our determination. Recognize us, or witness a new chapter in galactic history. The chamber fell silent. The words were simple, yet they carried a power no counselor could ignore. Humans did not demand submission. They did not threaten violence. They only demanded recognition. And that demand, delivered with calm confidence, had shaken the foundations of the council itself. Yilra's voice trembled with frustration. They speak of courage and unity. They have no fleets capable of true destruction. How dare they lecture the council? Tael's calm eyes swept the room. Do not mistake their courage for arrogance. Observe their strategy. Their unity is remarkable. They have studied us, learned from us, and acted with purpose. That is why they have already altered the galaxy's perception of strength. The humans' next move demonstrated this perfectly. Without firing a weapon, they projected a holographic map of council space, showing fleet positions, energy flows, and strategic points. Every detail was accurate, every weakness highlighted, not as a threat but as proof of preparation and intelligence. Counselors gasped. They know our fleet positions, our strategies. How is this possible? They do not rely on power alone, Tael explained. They rely on observation, analysis, and adaptability. That is why they are dangerous. They have prepared for every response we might attempt. Outside the chamber, the human fleet continued its quiet display of discipline and strength. Energy, pulses shimmered from each ship, highlighting coordination, intelligence, and purpose. Council sensors could not keep up. Every movement demonstrated adaptability and unity. Inside the council chamber, fear and awe mixed. Species that had once ruled unchallenged now realized that a young world could rise without violence, using intelligence, courage, and unity to demand recognition. Finally, the council called an emergency summit. Leaders of every major species gathered to discuss the unprecedented situation. For hours, debates raged. Some argued for force, believing humans must be shown their place. Others cautioned patience, recognizing the danger in underestimating a species united in purpose. Tael spoke last. Humans are young, yes, but they are united, clever, and fearless. Their calm, deliberate actions have already begun to change the galaxy's understanding of strength. They do not seek war today, yet their presence alone commands respect. The question is not what we can do to them, but what we must do to understand them. If we continue with hostility, we risk creating what we fear. If we act with wisdom, we may gain allies. The chamber fell silent. Even the most confident species began to see the truth. Humans were no longer primitive. They had arrived boldly, with clarity, strategy, and courage. And in doing so, they had begun to reshape the galaxy. Captain Mira turned to her crew. This is the moment we have trained for. Our goal is not conquest. Our goal is recognition. Show them Earth's strength not through weapons but through unity and intelligence. The crew nodded. Every member of the fleet understood their role. Every calculation, every energy projection, every movement had been planned. Yet the true advantage lay in their spirit, their courage, their determination, and their unity. The odds, human envoy spoke into the council chamber one final time. We do not demand fear. We do not demand submission. We demand recognition, equality, and respect. The galaxy must see that Earth is a force to be considered, not ignored. We are ready to defend ourselves, but we offer no attack unless provoked. Today, we teach that courage and unity can rival centuries of experience and power. The council fell silent. Every species understood the meaning. Humans had arrived not to destroy, but to demonstrate a new form of strength, one built on intelligence, adaptability, courage, and unity. After hours of debate, the council reached a historic decision. The humans would be granted recognition, a seat in the assembly, and equality in all deliberations. It was unprecedented. A young species, long ignored, had forced the galaxy's oldest powers to accept its presence. Ilra's tentacles trembled, with anger and disbelief, but even she could not deny the truth. Humans had won without firing a single weapon. They had shown that true strength could be measured in will, unity, and purpose, not just fleets or firepower. Tail smiled quietly. The galaxy has learned a new lesson. A young species can rise, not by destruction but by courage, intelligence, and unity. That is why humanity is remarkable. Captain Mira Valen allowed herself a small smile. We have done what we came to do. We have shown them Earth's strength, not through violence, but through clarity, unity, and determination. The Council has learned to respect us. The galaxy has learned to recognize us. Jara nodded. They will never forget this. Humanity has changed the galaxy without a single battle fought. Across the stars, the human fleet pulsed gently, calm, and precise. Energy fields shimmered, highlighting discipline, intelligence, and purpose. Humanity had proven that a small young world could rise to stand among the galaxy's oldest powers, not through conquest, but through courage, unity, and clarity of purpose. The Galactic Council had laughed at humans for centuries. Now, they recognized them as equals, a species that could not be ignored. Earth had claimed its place among the stars not through destruction, but through wisdom, strategy, and unwavering courage. And as the humans returned home, their fleet gliding silently through the stars, a new era began. The galaxy would never look at Earth or at humanity the same way again. For the first time, the Council and all other species understood a simple, undeniable truth. Humans may be young, but their unity, courage, and intelligence could challenge empires. Humanity's sudden wrath was not one of violence. It was a force of will. And the galaxy had learned to respect it. The stars shimmered, calm and endless, as Earth rose to take its place among them. And in every corner of the galaxy, species whispered the same thought. The humans had awakened, and they would never be underestimated again.